Alright guys, so in today's video we are going to be making one of these. It's not gonna be exactly like this, but long story short, I want to say about a year ago, I bought a rugged rosary and I really liked it, and I wanted to gift that kind of thing to more people. um but I wasn't really trying to spend like 30-40 bucks, whatever it is, for every single person. And I was like, man, how hard can these be to make? So I YouTubed it and I found a video. It was okay, but it was pretty difficult for me to get all the knots down. So basically, in this video, I'm going to kind of just make a rosary, make another one, and you guys can just watch, and I'll do the knots kind of from a good angle, with good lighting, I hope, and maybe it'll be easier to do it if you watch that video, because when I watched the one that I learned from, oh man, it took me like a week before I could actually finish one rosary and it looked good, like nice. So that's what we got going on today. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna give you an overview of what you're gonna need. You're gonna need some cord. If you're just making one, you don't need this much, but I'm helping somebody with a bit of a project, so we're making a lot. Anyway, the cord is going to be 550 paracord. It's about that thick, not crazy thick, but it is a little stiff in the beginning. When you first make these rosaries, they're going to be a little rough, but over time, if you keep them in your pocket or you just use them a lot, they get super soft. So you're gonna need some 550 paracord, and you're gonna need obviously your beads. You can go with different kinds. For example, on mine, I did all metal beads. And the reason that I did that was I was kind of going through like all kinds of different rosaries. I was trying to make one that was like unbreakable pretty much, because I was going on a trip. I was doing a pilgrimage, and I wanted to take a rosary with me that I could get it blessed and take it to the Vatican. I was doing a trip in Europe. Not important. Anyway, so I tried a bunch of different stuff. I was changing knots, and I came up with this knot at the end. Pretty simple, but like if you get a rugged rosary, they just use one of the normal barrel knots. And the issue with that is if you pull it tight enough, it's just a knot holding a string like this. So that string will just come out. So with this knot, it's like two knots kind of holding each other like this. And I've tested it with just some regular string. I did one like Rugged Rosary does theirs. And then I did this knot, and I put them both tied to the ground. And then the other side of it was hooked up to a car jack. I think it was like a 5-ton car jack or something. And I just kept putting the car jack up until on the Rugged Rosaries knot, it pulled it right out pretty quickly. And then with this knot, the rope actually broke before the knot came undone. So if you make it like this, I mean, at worst, this knot, if it's pulled tight enough, will kind of bundle up into a ball. But theoretically, your knots should never come undone. So I got a little bit off track, but yeah, you can choose different beads. I chose metal because I was having issues with the plastic ones breaking. But for this video, we're going to go ahead and use plastic. So we got two different colors we're going to use. These are for the Our Fathers. These are for the Hail Marys. And then you're just going to need a cross. I like these triple threat crosses. They look really nice. They come from Italy. You're going to need a lighter. And you're going to need scissors, which I don't actually have. I thought there was some here. Maybe there are. No, there's not. Okay. If you don't have them, not a big deal. You can just use a knife. But I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Oh, you know what? Let me show you how long these need to be. So it does seem a bit excessive with how much we're going to use, but it's nice to have extra. So basically 100 inches is what you're going for. You can go with less and you'll probably still have plenty of slack, but 100 inches is good for your first one. Just try it out, make sure you've got enough. What I like to do is I grab the cord and I just kind of go, not completely arm stretched all the way out, but just a little bit. And then I grab over here and do that same thing again. Just, you know, not super tight. And I come over here and this is where I'm gonna cut it. I'll change the angle now because we're gonna actually start working with our hands. So I'm gonna kind of do it from the top and you can just view the knots that way. All right. Now, I'm hoping this is all in the camera because I can't really see. But this is where we said we were gonna cut it. So I just got a Milwaukee knife. You can use whatever you want. Got some hay in there. Okay. So just cut your cord. Then this is one of the little tips and tricks I got for you. You're gonna pull this slightly out, maybe that much. Just hold it there, get your knife, cut it. Okay, I need to put a new blade in this, it's pretty dull. Hold on. But anyways, after you do that, you're gonna grab the cord from about this far back, and you just pull it like this, and you'll see that the white string starts to recede inside. And the reason you do that is because if you don't pull that string in and you try to melt the end with your lighter, this white string is very I don't know, it doesn't work well. And when you're trying to feed this through the two beads or two strings through one bead, it's just more of a pain. So this makes it a lot easier. So you should be a little bit hollow like this, and then you just light the end just a little bit, and then you kind of just press it together like that. You might burn your fingers the first few times, but you'll kind of figure out when to do it and when not to go too early because it will burn. Okay. Anyways, let's go to the other side and see if it's already. Yeah, see, this is how they come factory, like this. You can leave it like this as long as it doesn't break on you. If it breaks, it'll start kind of coming apart. But let's move on. You're gonna want to get the lighter out of the way and get your cross, feed it through. The video I watched, they want you to leave like when you come to the end over here, they want you to leave it like this with some slack on one side. Honestly, you don't have to do that. You could just make it even, follow your string all the way down, right here. Okay, this is where the first knot comes. So basically, you're gonna want to use your left hand. You can do it right-handed if you want, but for simplicity's sake of following along with the video, use your left hand. Put it through like this. Then you're gonna flip this over like so. So imagine it's like the Jesus fish, right? And put it over this string. Pull this string through a little bit. I've done like 50 or like 60 of these rosaries, and I still mess this knot up sometimes. And then you're gonna get this string here. Make sure it's underneath this one. You're gonna pull it till you get to the end. And then we'll back over here. You're gonna go through this loop here. Now you're just going to pull your slack out. Okay. Pull this down. You're just going to try and make it flat in your hand, basically, and very symmetrical. You should end up with something like this, like that. Doesn't have to be completely perfect, but the more symmetrical, the better. Now you're going to grab this string. It's going to come back around underneath this one again, and it's going to follow your middle finger down and come out of this diamond here. So let's go ahead and do that. It's best to hold these when you're pulling the slack, because if you don't, it'll pull on the knot and it'll just make it tight and not symmetrical, and it's going to be more of a pain. So you feed it down your middle finger right here. This can be a little tricky. Pull it through. Like so. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. That's perfect. And then you just grab this one now. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to come around, and it's going to come from your thumb side down here. Make sure to stay to the right side of the base of this here. And you're going to come into the diamond and up. So basically you want both of the strings that were on your left and right to go underneath and come out of that diamond there. So let's go ahead and pull this slack. And then you're going to come from this side. See? Push it in there. Sorry, the lighting's not the best. I thought it'd be better, but... Okay. You can see it coming through there. Try your best to get it through. Oh. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Pull it through. If it starts to turn like this, all you have to do is rotate left or right to correct that, so you don't have a kink in your rope. Okay, that looks fairly symmetrical, and I don't know if this is going to come out right, but let's just hope for the best. So now you don't pull it off your finger like that, and then you grab both, and then you yank it, not too hard, but nice and firm, like that. You should end up with something like this. I mean, sometimes it comes out better, sometimes it comes out worse. You never know. Sometimes it doesn't come out right at all. So pull it a little snug. Try and form that shape a little bit. And what you're going to need to do, this knot needs to come down. And you almost want it like down this much, because you're going to stick something in here. Doesn't matter. You can put a screwdriver, you can put a pencil, a pen. Doesn't matter. You're going to use that to go in there, and then you're going to tighten it, and it's going to open up that hole a little bit. But this is obviously way too big. So in order to draw it down, let's see. This is what you're going to want to do. Pick one of these. It doesn't matter which side. Pick one, follow it up, and if you see, excuse me, if you follow that and you try to look behind the knot, you can see where it's going. So let me see if I can show you this. See that? See how it goes here? You can see the string there, and then it comes out right here. Excuse me. Okay, so this is going to be the one that you're going to pull, and you're going to pull all the slack out through here. So you grab it, you just start pulling it through. Until you have about that much. That much of a hole at the bottom should be good. Now you're going to follow this loop over here. You can obviously see that it crosses right here to this side. So now you're going to pull that slack that you just pulled out here, and you're going to bring it over to the next part. Sorry, I'm not the greatest at explaining, but I'm hoping that you can just look at this video and kind of get an understanding. Same thing. follow it over. You can see it comes over here. Pull the slack out again. Follow it again. Pull the slack. Okay, now you can see it disappears. So when you follow it this time, you can't tell where it goes. And that's because you're going to have to pull one of these strings. So you give that one a little tug, it's firm. That's not it. You pull the other one, it should be easy. Just like that. Then, what I like to do is I always start pulling from this side down. And you'll see. Okay, so you just pull it. And as you're pulling it down, you're going to want to like kind of squeeze it. Like imagine it's a dough ball and you're trying to form the dough ball as you're pulling it. Because if you don't, it might come out flat or lopsided, high on one side, low on the other side. It can look pretty weird. So just try and form it as you're pulling it down. Then get a good grip. Pull it fairly tight, not as tight as you can, but now for me, I have this Milwaukee multi-tool. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this side of it. But you can use anything, like I said. Doesn't matter. As long as it fits in here and it's sturdy enough. So you just put that on there. Grab it. Give it a pull. Alright. Now as you can see, that knot is pretty tight. That'd be pretty tough to undo now. You have decent amount of room right here for this. Now you're gonna put your beads. This is where the first beads are gonna be coming in. So come all the way to the end, and automatically you end up with one side longer. And the reason you want one side longer, theoretically, if it was super short and you had no room for error, you'd want one side longer because you're gonna put 3 mysteries on one side and you're gonna put 2 mysteries on the other. So you kind of need a little bit of extra length there. But if you're going with 100 inches, really not important. Okay, so let's put the first beads on. So we're going to start with 3 Hail Mary beads. And these are going to be white for my rosary. So just put them together. Sometimes it's a little hard depending on the size of the bead, but I think these are 5.7 millimeter opening holes on these ones, but not 100% sure on that. Another little tip is if you have scissors, when you cut it, don't cut it straight across. Cut it at an angle, and then when you mount it, it's going to be at a point, so it's much easier to feed through these. But you can still get away with it like this. It's alright. So now you got your 3 on there. You're going to pull all that slack through. Pull it through. There you go. And just for reference, this is where we're at right now. We just did this knot. We put our 3 beads on. Now we're going to go to this knot. This one is going to be different. I don't know the name for this knot. I don't know the name for this knot. But we'll get to that shortly. Okay. So we're going to do another one of these. Let's just jump right in. Same thing. And, I mean, you could put one of these on your right and one on your left. It doesn't matter. Now, make your little Jesus fish. See that? Don't want it too big. Pull this little loop through. The eye, we'll call it the eye of the fish if you want. Just make it easier to remember. Pull this underneath this one. Put this through the eye. And you should end up with that shape again. Just like that. Be funny if I do this exactly the way I did it. the first time and I pull it and it's just not right. It's happened to me so many times, it's ridiculous. Okay, that looks fairly symmetrical. So we're gonna go over here again, underneath this string. Make sure you go underneath. Now you're gonna follow your middle finger down and up that diamond right there. If I can get it to go, there we go. Pull the slack till you're about right there. That looks good. Okay, now this one gonna come from the thumb side, right there. I should have grabbed the water before I started this video. Come right here. Oh, perfect. Pull that slack through. And try and put it like right there. Like in between those two. Pull it a little snug. What I found helped me was kind of like crushing it down like that sometimes. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's hope it works. There we go. Okay. Maybe I'm getting better. I don't know. Now this one is going to be a little bit different. Because, well, I'm not even going to try to explain. Just watch. So you're going to have to basically feed both of these through. You're going to have to take the slack out of both. It's the same exact concept as the other one. You follow it. You see it in there. It comes over here. Pull the slack out. And you're going to pull it all the way to the end. Give it a nice little firm tug. Then follow it. Follow it all the way over. That side is done. Now you gotta take this slack and feed it through. So you follow it, you can see it underneath there. Coming over here, grab it, and pull that slack out. Might be a little tight, but that's why God gave you nails. Boom. Not perfect, but that's where the forming, when you pull it, comes in. It should come out a little nicer. So pull it down towards these beads first. You can see there's no slack really. You're gonna get the slack, don't worry. So just pull it, kind of form it. Okay, then after you do that, you can grab these beads. When you pull it, it's gonna pull that slack over here, and you're gonna get a little bit of room for your beads to move around. So just, there we go, see? Now you got some space for your beads. All right, now let's move on. So let me see if I can remember this one. This one you're not gonna put through your middle finger or anything like that. And it feels very similar to these first two knots we made, but it's not. Okay, so in these knots that we were making, we were turning it like this. But in this knot, we're gonna turn it the exact opposite way, like so. I'm trying to show you a good view here. That's what you want. Okay, now, if I can remember correctly, okay, you're gonna get this one that's coming out the top of that loop, and you're gonna go over this. You're gonna go over it. You're gonna come up underneath this diamond, upside down triangle, I mean. Then you're gonna go over, underneath here, and up this. So let me show you. You take your string, go over this string here, over the top. Make sure you go over the top. Then you're gonna go underneath here. You don't have to pull all the slack out until you're done. Then you go down here. Then you're gonna put it up through this ear. And pull your slack. You should end up with this shape. Should look like that. Now you just want to feed it down and tighten it. So to do that, you can grab these ears, kind of hold it to maintain the shape of the knot, pull it down on both sides, and then you just pull these to tighten up those ears that you just put slack on. See that? Now let's move it down a little bit more. So pull from these again. You're really just pulling this right here. You're kind of shimmying that knot down. Same thing again on this side. Okay. Then hold the whole knot and kind of pull the slack out. And your first few knots doing this, they're not gonna look good. I mean, you're gonna have to really practice to get like some good looking knots. I mean, when I did my rosary, that I knew was gonna be my personal one that I was gonna want to keep forever, man, I kept doing and undoing the knots and redoing them over and over again because I wanted it to look perfect. So if that's what you want to do, go for it, but most people really don't notice. If it's yours, you're going to notice, but okay. Now, let's go, and we're going to do 2 just really simple knots here. It's going to be simple, little, I don't know what you call those, but it's just like your basic knot. Let me show you on this one. You can see here, that's just 2 basic knots. But the way you do them is a little, I have my own way of doing it, and it comes out right every time. So I'll show you that. And they're just going to hold the Hail Marys here. Keep them from bumping into this knot that you made. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room to show you, but hopefully you get the gist of it. So you kind of got to throw it like that. If you have more space, it's easier to show you. But basically, throw it over like that. Then this string is going to come in here. And then, before you pull all this slack out, grab it from the base of the rosary and pinch here. What that is going to do is keep the knot close to the point where you want it. And you kind of just roll it over. So you pull some slack, roll it over, pull some slack, roll it over. And as you can see, the reason that I do that specific way, and I'm going to do it the exact same way on the other side, is this knot is always going to have your string coming up. I've made some before, and the knots ended up one going up and one kind of like pointing down. And you don't really notice it too much in the beginning, but after you're done with the rosary and you pick it up, it makes the whole rosary twist in a weird way that you can't untwist. It's just the way it is because of the knots. So I found this to be the best way. Like after I've started doing it like this, I haven't had a single issue. So pinch, pull your slack, kind of roll it over like a little bit of a wheel almost. And as you can see, they're both pointing up. That's just the way the knot directs the rope. So tighten them up a little. Not too close to your main knot, but you don't want it too far either. But, you know, it's your rosary, you play with it. See what you like. I like to do every knot like as tight as I can. just so that way when my rosary is done, if it gets pulled or yanked or something, I don't have to worry about slack showing up somewhere and my beads looking uneven. If it's as tight as it's gonna get, you gotta put some serious force to make it look like that. So now we're gonna add 10 Hail Marys. Let's start with that. Well, it doesn't matter which side you start with, honestly. You just grab one side and put 10 beads on. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to edit this so that way we can like speed this up. This is my first time ever making a YouTube video, so if I can, I'll probably speed it up right about here. If not, you're still hearing me talking. You're gonna have to watch this. Is that 10? And I would recommend like double, triple, quadruple counting these, because oh man, there's been a few times that I've finished up a rosary and I look at it and I'm missing one bead. And once you're done tying it and cutting it and melting it at the end, there's no going back. If you want to redo it, you have to redo everything. The only thing you can salvage is the beads and the cross. Everything else has to be redone. So I can't stress this enough. Count, make sure everything's right before you get to that last step. That's 10. Okay, now we're gonna do what's called a barrel knot. And this one, surprisingly enough, was one of the most difficult ones for me to get. I don't know why, it's just the way you pull the knot is what kind of gets me, and then taking the slack out. But hopefully I'll make it somewhat easy. So we're calling this your base, right? Your base is gonna go on your thumb side. Put it right here, loop it around, and then go underneath like this. 3 times. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Now take your hand out, you're gonna grab this base side, and you're gonna grab this other side, and when you pull it, you're gonna kind of imagine you're doing this. You're pulling and twisting. So your right hand is twisting towards you, and your left hand is twisting away from you. And this is what it should look like. And don't pull it too tight, but if your knot looks like this, you're doing it right. Now, what you want to do is you want to hold these 2 strings here. And you don't want to let the shape of that change. You don't want them coming loose. So I like to go like 3 fingers and holding it from like all sides, basically, like that. Then after you do that, you're gonna grab this piece here, and this is where you're gonna pull the slack through. That string goes through this knot and it comes out right here, all the way down to your beads. So you're gonna grab this, you're gonna grab this one, might be a little hard, but pull it out and just retain these. I can't stress that enough, retain them. Don't let them change. Pull it all the way through. Pull it nice and snug. And then you're gonna grab this with your fingers. And basically you're replacing these with the slack. So watch. You kind of don't have to hold this a whole lot, but, well, just watch. You're gonna feed it over. 1, 2, and that third one, you're gonna end up with kind of like a scorpion shape here. See? Now, when you pull this, don't just pull the slack, because you're gonna end up with a kink in that knot and it's gonna look funky. So when you pull it, twist it like this. Twist it towards yourself, same way you did when you pulled the first knot. And it's gonna look weird. It's gonna look like there's gonna be a kink in there, But if you keep twisting and pulling it, you can feel it pop through. Then you let go, and that knot has moved perfectly down. Now, tighten it just the way you tightened all those other knots, and pull it towards your base. So there's no slack here. You can see there's no slack. But you're gonna pull it almost as tight as you can, hand tight. Just like that. Now, you got no slack. You're gonna grab all these beads. You're gonna grab this side, and you're just gonna pull until you have the amount of slack that you want. So, maybe a little more. And if that's not working for it, you can grab here and use your fingers to kind of like tighten up the knot on one side like this. It makes a difference. See, you got enough slack to go through your beads when you're praying. Now you're gonna put in our Father bead. Let's open up that bag. Feed it through here. Sorry this is a long video, but you're gonna see exactly how to do it. Now you're gonna do the same barrel knot. Loop around. 1, 2, 3. Pull and twist. Retain those two. Pull out the slack. Nice and taut. Then you're gonna replace those lines with your slack. 3 loops around. Twist when you pull it. Got a little bit of slack there. A little bit of room for that bead to move around. That's perfect. Now you're gonna put another 10 on. Not for any specific reason, but we're just gonna put 2 decades on this side. Let's count that. Pull it through. Now you're gonna do another barrel knot. 1, 2, 3. Pull and twist. Retain those. Pull the slack. Replace those 2. Twist. Pull it towards the base. Perfect. Now, we're going to put another Father bead, but instead of doing a barrel knot, so put our Father bead, instead of doing a barrel knot, we're going to do it just like we would to do a barrel knot, but instead of going all the way through, you leave that tail in, like this, and you pull it like that. And the reason that is because you're going to want to come back and undo this, which is not hard to do. You just do that, but you just kind of want to leave that on there like that for now. Okay, you're done with this side for now. Now you're gonna move on to this side, and you're gonna want to put 3 mysteries on here. So let's do that now. 3 decades, 3 mysteries, whatever. Okay, another barrel knot. Father. Another barrel knot. Another 10. Another barrel knot. Okay, let's put another Our Father. Another barrel knot. A lot of barrel knots. Almost done. Okay, we're almost there. I'm just gonna add 10 more. this is where even I get confused sometimes how to do this one. But you can pull this through. And essentially what you're doing is you're making that last knot here that joins it all together. Pretty much have your whole rosary. So this one is a bit tricky, even for me. I've only done it a few times. Man, let's see if I can remember how to do it. If not, we might break into a time lapse where we just go until I figure it out. But I think you loop around like you're doing a barrel knot, but instead of going 3 times around, you just go once, and then you kind of pull your hand out, pull that knot through like that. This seems right. Okay, getting a little confused. No, I think that's right. Okay. So now do the same thing, I believe. Come around like a one-piece barrel knot. Okay, no, that's not right. Yeah, I just had it. What's going on? There we go. I hope that was on. Oh, man. Let me try that again. See, I think it was on camera. You come around, go underneath, and pull it through. Then, so it's just two, like a barrel knot, but without the whole barrel. Then you grab these and you pull it until they butt up. Pull it a little snug. You see, it looks like a barrel knot from this side. When you turn around, a bit different. It's like 2 barrel knots butted up to each other. But the cool thing about this is you feed the slack out the same way. So imagine these are your two ones that you're having to retain, and this is the one that you're pulling the slack out of. But you're gonna have to do this on both sides. So you pull the slack, boom, butts up to the Our Father. Now you're holding 2 strings instead of 1. Flip it around. Then you pull one of those strings. Pull it a little firm here. Okay. Now turn it around. Do the same thing on this side. You're holding those 2 lines. You're pulling your slack through. Feeding that around. Pulling it through. Now just try and get them nice and tight. Because you really want these to be tight. Like these more than any of the other ones. These are going to be what holds your whole rosary together. So you don't want to keep these loose. As tight as you can get it. Pull out slack. And then you can grab it from both sides. Obviously there's not much room here. Just grab it from both sides and kind of give it a little pull. About to break my hands. All right. I think that should be good. Looks decent. So let's go ahead and cut that slack off now. I'm gonna turn this blade around. It's kind of dull on this side. Don't mind that tape and cardboard. Okay, so come over here. Okay, let's mount that. This little melted blob that you're going to make right here is also going to help retain your knot. But be careful to not hold the flame too close to any of these other brown pieces, because it will burn a hole and you'll see the white on the inside, like this. Get a little flame going. Then pull it to the natural orientation you want it. That way it kind of melts into the right shape. You blow on it too to speed it up. That's that side. Done. Do the next side. Okay. That was not the best cut. We got a lot of extra on here, but I don't have scissors to correct that, so we're just gonna melt a fairly big blob on here. It's going down. There you go. You just finished a rosary. So this is the end result. Looks pretty good if you ask me. And another nice thing about this knot is it's about the same size as the rest. If you get a rugged rosary, like from the website, it comes with just a knot like this, but the other string is going through it, and it looks much bulkier than the rest of the knots. So I really like that about this too, and it's super strong. Like, you could probably do pull-ups with this thing if you had it like hooked on a hook or something. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. God bless. Bye.